Alright, so The Foundation on Apple TV. I've been mildly looking forward to this series as a pretty big fan of Isaac Asimov, and actually one of my first videos on this channel was a video I did about the Foundation series. I don't recommend you watch it, but I don't recommend you watch anything I do, so... But really, I've been looking forward to seeing this, if for no other reason than I'm wondering how the hell you can adapt this. The thing with the Foundation series is there's no standard kind of protagonist. It's more or less a series of short stories about, well, the titular Foundation. And as such, kind of has that problem of, I don't know how you're going to change this from a book into a visual medium. Especially when character writing tends to be so much more important in like a TV show compared to what Isaac Asimov did in his books, which were more about getting across certain ideas than they were ever about the characters. Like, it's always been the characters are kind of a vehicle for the plot in most Isaac Asimov books. That doesn't make them poorly written like some people would say. It's just character is not really a focus in the Isaac Asimov books.
You are tearing me apart, Lisa!
And I can see the problems they're having with this series already. With the way they're having to basically, I guess you could say, decompress. It would probably take you less time to read this first short story in the book than this entire first arc is taking. I'm not kidding. It really just feels like they're stretching things out a bit. Now, does that necessarily make it bad? I don't really know. I am not really connecting with a lot of the characters very well. Not because they're doing a poor job adapting them, but just because there's not a lot to adapt. And I haven't really felt like the shift to more of a character focus has been justified yet. Granted, we're only 2 episodes in, and maybe this could change. But as it stands, it's hitting into the problem I tend to have when I watch anime, in that everything feels like it's 5 minutes of action followed by 10 minutes of people talking about that action. So in a sentence, I'm saying, I think the writing is a little weak. It feels like it's taking longer to say what it really wants to say than what is necessary. But other than that, this is an exceptionally good-looking show. I have to marvel at the effects here. This really does look like Trantor to me. That idea of, the city that's the entire world. And similar vein, I love all the performances in this series so far. That's not exactly how I imagine Salvor Hardin or Galen to look, mostly because they were described as being men. But I don't necessarily have a problem with, gender bending stuff. The sex of the characters was pretty immaterial to the overall story. That goes back to Isaac Asimov not being much of a character guy, so I don't really mind the changes. I know somebody's going to be pissed off about that, and I just figured I'd get out ahead of that. And with that, the changes of, the 3 emperors thing here was totally not in the book, but I actually kind of like this change, in that I feel like it really solidifies the idea that Isaac Asimov was going for when he was creating an empire that was too focused on looking backwards. So it's the same emperor forever because, genetic, because he just keeps cloning himself over and over again. And you can see how that could make something stable, but in the same time, that does fit well with the themes of an empire that's incapable of moving forward. I don't know, I think that was a pretty, spot-on change and such. I think the plotting needs some work, and the characters aren't really any better when it feels like they probably should be for a TV series, with, excellent effects and great performances. So, I guess in summary, it's the second best TV show I saw based on an Isaac Asimov work this week. Yeah, Vivi is really good if you haven't watched that yet.
It's not the most important thing we'll do this week, but it's the most important thing they'll do in their lifetime.
This truly is the golden age of television.